Hello, my name is Danielle Kartes. I am a celebrity chef and a cookbook author, and today we are making a chicken pot pie. But not just any chicken pot pie, a cheddar drop biscuit chicken pot pie of your dreams and my dreams. It's perfect for back to school. You're going to enjoy this all fall long and even into the winter. This is also something that could be really great for Christmas morning or even like an easy Christmas Eve dinner. So let's get started. I've got about 2 to 2.5 cups of my shredded rotisserie chicken. I've got the carrots chopped, the celery chopped, the onions chopped. I've got peas here, frozen peas. I love petite peas. They're my very favorite. I've got some Parmesan cheese for the gravy, so it's gonna be rich and delicious. We're gonna do some half and half and chicken stock. You guys are gonna be amazed at how quickly this comes together. Okay, if you've never made a homemade gravy or a roux, this is gonna be really fun and interesting to you. So I've got 4 tablespoons of butter going over medium-high heat. I'm gonna add just a swirl of olive oil just to bring that cooking fat up to temp. And now I'm gonna add my onions and I'm just gonna put my carrots and celery right in. You really want everybody to get nice and translucent and delicious in that butter and oil. Once your veggies get cooking, go ahead and season these guys. Pretty liberal with a little kosher salt and some cracked black pepper. I've got some pretty fresh herbs here. So these are woodsy. And when I talk about a woodsy herb, it means something that's actually a little bit woody on the stalk. But the cool part is when they're very tender like this and bendy, you can throw the whole thing in. Everything is edible. When they start to get a little bit more tough, like here at the bottom, all you have to do is pull the leaves opposite the stem. Look at this. And then you've got these tender leaves. I'm gonna put all that in here. And this top part is so tender, we can just put the whole thing in. This, you can pop it into the gravy so it continues to flavor, or you can just put it in your compost pile or the garbage. We're just about ready to add our flour. Obviously it looks very, very moist, but if it looks dry in regards to making the roux, you can go ahead and add another little turn of olive oil. I want just a little bit more fat. What's gonna happen is the fat is gonna mix the flour and it's going to create a paste. We don't want it to be super, super thick because the biscuits are gonna absorb some of that gravy. If it's too thick, everything will sort of be glumpy and dry. But look at this, do you see how it's absorbing the flour, but it's still nice and loose? Nothing's creating a paste. Next comes the chicken stock. I'm gonna add this slowly. You can always add more liquid, you can't take it out. It's gonna take about 5 minutes to thicken. Next goes the cream and the cheese. I'm gonna eyeball it. I'm a professional. I mean, really let your heart decide how much cream you wanna add, but we're gonna do half and half, probably a half a cup. Chicken can get very stringy and overcooked really quickly. So what we wanna do is we wanna keep it intact and add it very, very last. Then we'll do the peas for the same reason. We just don't wanna overcook them. We're gonna gently fold this in. Like I said, remember how we really don't wanna break that chicken up. We want it to stay in those nice, beautiful, meaty chunks. Okay, be careful with this part because your pan is very hot. And that is gorgeous. Okay, best part. So the biscuits, I mean, I don't know, do I like the biscuits more or the gravy more? I really can't decide. What we're gonna do to get this started is I've got 2 cold sticks of butter. You do want your butter to be nice and cold. We've got our flour to go right on top of the butter to cut right in. And baking powder, this is essential. And you don't see me measuring very much, but I will measure for things like this. So I'm gonna do a nice heaping tablespoon. And it's very important to have salt. And then I'm just gonna mix this just real gently to get that mixed in. We have a lot of cheese going into here, at least 2 cups. So I'm gonna reserve just a little bit to sprinkle on top of the biscuit. And then in goes our sour cream. Keep checking, make sure you're taking all this good stuff off of the paddle. So here we've got our beautiful gravy. And then you're looking for a little bit bigger than a loose golf ball. We're just gonna start tucking these guys in. Don't be afraid if they sink a little bit because they're gonna puff up with that baking powder. And almost, the tops will be crispy. They're sort of like icebergs where you've got a little bit on top, get a little bit down below too. and you don't want overflow and spillage. So it's always really good to put this on a sheet lined with parchment papers for easy cleanup, but you don't want this to sort of like bubble over. We're gonna take some of our cheese and sprinkle them all across the top. And this is gonna go into the oven for around 45 minutes. Okay, here we go. We got this bad boy right out of the oven. It smells like heaven. Oh my gosh. Then we have the gravy in here. Do you see how it thickened up? I mean, I love that it's still gravy and it's not so like gloopy and thick that you don't get like that perfect biscuit. You know what? Let's just go ahead and put another little biscuit on top here, and you can almost hear the crisp. Look at that. Oh my gosh, it's just so pretty. So here's a nice big portion. Here comes the chef and me wanting to fix that little bit. And then look at this. I want you to come in and get a nice close up. And because I'm using lemon thyme and it's just like the bright, fresh little bits, and then we're just gonna put a little bit on top. And I'm gonna take a picture of this one, so let me get a spoon or a fork and taste it. It's so hot, but look how fluffy the biscuit is. Comfort food at its finest. Happy fall, you guys.
Hey, what's up guys? Matt Moore coming back to you from Nashville, Tennessee. And if you guys are anything like me, after a long hot summer, that first day when you walk outside, temperatures are a little bit cooler, there's less humidity in the air, your mind is instantly thinking about fall. And so today I'm super excited to be cooking up one of my favorite recipes for my latest book, Butcher on the Block. We are doing my pork chili verde. If you've never had this before, it is super delicious. It's gonna make constant rotation throughout the fall and year round. And at the star of the show is going to be these little kind of green tomatoes. We call these tomatillos. And if you've never worked with these before, you pretty much find them nowadays in any supermarket. They're super easy to work with. They've got a little bit of a tartness similar to like a green apple or a plum. To prep them, all you need to do is just remove this husk right away. Sometimes they'll be a little bit sticky underneath that. You can just run them under some cold running water. And then I've combined these. I'm just gonna slice them in half, expose a little bit more surface area. I've got some Vidalia onions, some garlic, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this process started. I've got my oven cranked up to 450 degrees. Now, the star of the show is going to be the pork, of course, and we are working with one of my favorite cuts, country style ribs. If you've never worked with this before, this is actually coming from the pork shoulder, or the pork butt as we call it. They're cut into individual portions, but we're actually gonna go ahead and sear these off in a Dutch oven. This is gonna be a beautiful, delicious one-pot meal. So I've got this over medium heat. All I'm gonna do is add a little bit of vegetable oil down into my pot, and we'll go ahead and start to brown these country style ribs right in the pot. Next step is just add kosher salt. We're gonna add in some fresh cracked pepper. Just set it, forget it. Every couple of minutes, we're gonna turn it on all sides. We want them nice and brown and caramelized all the way through. Okay, so we've got our pork really nice and brown, just a couple minutes on all sides. Now we're gonna add into that some cumin, some chili powder. Just get all that in. Add in some chicken stock as well. Pour all that right there. And we're gonna bring this back up to a simmer. We'll cover this and reduce the heat to low. Let it go low and slow for about an hour until that pork is gonna be fall apart tender. Okay, so our pork is done. We had that just low and slow for about an hour. I've taken it out, I've let it cool. It is just fall apart tender. I'm just gonna reserve this. In the meantime, tomatillos and onions and garlic look absolutely beautiful. We got that nice char that we wanted on the outside. I'm gonna add these right into that stock that we've made, juices and everything. And now we are going to take an immersion blender and just combine this. It's gonna help thicken everything. If you don't have an immersion blender, you can allow this to cool and then blend it in a traditional blender. Okay, so it's my favorite time. It's time to eat. This is just another one-pot superstar meal. I'm gonna go ahead and ladle this up. Plenty of pork, plenty of green chili. I love to serve this with a side of a tortilla that I've just charred. That way you can just dunk it in there. And then we're gonna just garnish this very simply with a little bit of finely sliced radish over the top, some cilantro, a lime wedge, and there you have it. For more of these recipes, please be sure to check out my latest book, Butcher on the Block. You can pick up copies wherever books are sold. Cheers, guys.